So we're going to talk about today how to eat enough protein when you're cutting calories, when you're trying to lose weight. I know that's a real challenging issue for so many people. I'll link it afterwards. I forgot to put it in the descriptions, but one of my private coaching clients is having an issue with this, and I wanted making up like a 3-day meal plan for them, really low calorie, like 750 calories. They're going to be doing this like low calorie thing intermittently, but there was 100 grams of protein while only taking in 750 calories. So that's kind of like what we're going to talk about today, but it's going to be more calories than that. We're going to break it all down. We'll go over the benefits of eating a high protein diet when you're looking to lose some weight, when you're cutting calories. Then we'll go over the importance of taking in complete proteins, those essential amino acids. We'll have a slide on that. Then we'll talk about how much protein you should eat, and we're going to debunk some things, talking about how much protein you can take in and consume within one meal. Then we'll talk about my favorite sources of protein, all my favorite sources. Let me pull up if anyone's here, like get some comments. My favorite sources of protein, we're going to go over that. And then we'll go over some specific meals. I just pulled in some meals that I've been, if you guys follow me, and I know you do on YouTube and Instagram, I'm a high protein, high fiber guy. So we'll pull in some of the meals that I've been eating lately. They give you some good examples. But let's say hello to everyone. I'm sorry for the sound issue in the beginning. Hey Jeff, thanks for showing up. This is great. Yes, you're live. Excellent. That's great. Let's see what Jeff has to say. Cause Jeff, and when I used to go live all the time, Jeff always showed up, which was great. I'm at work, but I've got my Pellegrino and lime juice. That's great. Jeff says that because I'm also a big believer in drinking mineral water, because when you hydrate yourself and you're getting those electrolytes, and Pellegrino is really high in magnesium. It has a little bit of sodium, has the electrolytes in it, so you absorb the water a lot better. I think a liter of Pellegrino has about 50 milligrams of magnesium, and you want to take in about 400, so magnesium is an important thing to take in with your diet, and Pellegrino is a great way to get it. I think Chris is here, which is good. Hey Chris, great to see you. Hello Mike. The sound and audio, it sounds good. That's great. Thanks for always telling me that, Chris. I really appreciate it. Sometimes I'll talk for 10 minutes and nobody can hear me, so I'm glad that works. Manisha's here too. Thank you so much, Manisha. I appreciate it, Mike. It's 9 p.m. in London. Whoa, thanks for staying up late for me. I really do appreciate it. And I think this is going to be a new regular thing. I think every other Thursday at 4 p.m. I'm going to start going live. And generally what I do, because Chris is in my private group, this is a presentation I did this past Sunday in my private coaching group. So it's so easy for me to do these now, because I'll just pull one of the ones that I did with my private group. I have all the slides. And maybe every other Thursday, 4 o'clock, unless I'm out of town or something. So let's make this like a regular thing so you guys know. And hopefully we'll get a lot of people showing up. Another mistake I've been making is that I email people. I have a few thousand people on my email list, but I didn't realize I was doing this. One of the original email lists I have was called my Fitness Contrarian email list. That's a website that I had like 15 years ago. It was really popular. I also had a podcast named Fitness Contrarian, which I'm going to start getting going again. And I made the mistake of like grouping it all together. So a lot of people are getting emails that say Fitness Contrarian, and I know they're not opening them up because they don't realize who Fitness Contrarian is. They don't know it's me. So next time I go live, I'm going to break up the list, and I think we'll probably get a lot of people in here because I have a few other lists with a few hundred people. So let's see how this goes. Any questions? I really love this topic. One of my favorite topics, protein. I'm such a protein guy. So the first, that's one of the meals. So I don't know how that got there. So let's see. Let's go back to the intro and let's go to slide 2. That's going to be one of the meals we'll look at the end. And also another weird thing is, I don't know if you can tell, I'm actually wearing my contacts. I'm going to start trying to wear my contacts again so people can see my eyes. Maybe they'll relate to me a little bit more. So if I don't see everything perfectly, I'm just kind of adjusting to it. I'm going to have to be a little further back than normal. Let me know. So let's go over the benefits of protein. Number one, out of all the 3 macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs are your macro. I think protein is the most important because you need those essential amino acids, meaning that these are the proteins, the building blocks of protein that your body can't make. You have to get them through your diet. So if you want to maintain your muscle mass when you're losing weight, if you want to have a fit, strong, healthy body, joints, connective tissue, skin, hair, and nails, if you want to age and be able to move around and do the things you want to do, eating a high protein diet along with resistance training really, really is key. And another tremendous benefit of eating a high protein diet is that based on all those 3 macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs, protein has the highest thermic effect. So what does that mean, thermic effect? Thermic effect just means that the body heats up and burns up calories digesting and processing protein. It could be as low as 15%, but it's generally more like 25 to 30% of the protein you eat is burned up, is used just digesting and processing the protein. So for example, you can just increase the amount of protein within your diet. That's going to reduce your calories. Sometimes that's enough to put you in a calorie deficit. So let's say you're eating 2,000 calories, but you're eating a low protein percentage. Maybe you're only eating 50 grams of protein a day. If you jump to 150 grams of protein a day while keeping your calories the same, you're going to be reducing your calories by like 20-25%, which is a tremendous win. So the thermic effect of food really is significant. So that's one of the major benefits of eating a high protein diet. Let's see what Jeff has to say. Great to hear that you're going to be doing the Fitness Contrarian podcast again. It was very convenient for me because I could download it on my iPad mini and listen to it in the car or while walking. That sounds great. Yeah, I really want to get going. I'm trying to do so much, but I'm also thinking about maybe taking these live streams and I can actually just take the audio from them and then putting that on the podcast too. So I may do a combination of things like that as well. I also, there's a few people I want to interview. I'm training this psychiatrist now. He's a wonderful guy. He already said he would come on. I want to interview him. There's a few people, my old buddy who hired me like 40 years ago when we ran this gym together. I want to interview him. So I'm going to start doing a lot more things going forward, which should be a lot of fun. Okay, and now the other thing, I talk about this a lot too. Another big benefit about protein is it's the highest in satiety, meaning that it's going to fill you up the most out of all the other macros. I think even way more than fat. Fat a little bit too, but way more than carbohydrates. And there's something called the protein leverage hypothesis, which I talk about a lot, and I'm a real strong believer in it. Researchers came up with this theory. Researchers are always trying to figure out, why do people overeat? There's so many different reasons for it. But one reason is based on this protein leverage hypothesis, which states that you will keep on eating. That means you're not going to feel satisfied until you hit your protein requirement for the day. Meaning that if your protein requirement, say for your body, say it's 150 grams of protein, but you're consistently only eating 50, 60, 70, you're going to be hungry. And you're going to keep on trying to eat more, and you're subconsciously trying to get to that adequate protein requirement that your body needs to thrive. It's really interesting. That's why I always look at also the protein to calorie ratio. So you want to eat foods that are high in protein and moderate in calories, which is key. So for example, I always give the example like the rock star would be like a plain Greek yogurt. One serving of Greek yogurt, it's only 80 calories, but 16 grams of protein. It's almost all protein. And the satiety is high. So, you really want to prioritize protein in your diet. Is so key. You're gonna eat less. Research shows that people who eat a higher protein diet automatically eat less. They just do because they're so satisfied. Plus, they're filling their protein requirement, which is putting that protein leverage hypothesis at bay. It's more challenging for vegetarians and vegans that I work with. I work with a number of them, and for me to get them to increase their protein without taking in too many calories, it's challenging. You can do it. If you're a vegan, it's really challenging though. Most vegans that I work with, I do put them on some type of protein supplement, like a plant-based protein powder or something. Even the plant meats, I will put a vegan on for sure, because you really need the protein, or else you're always going to be hungry. Plus, you want to maintain your muscle mass. Direct correlation between maintaining and protein synthesis and putting on muscle, eating an adequate amount of protein. Let's see what we got here. Truly yours. Oh, 100%. Hey, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. This is great. Teach out. This is cool. Thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. Okay. Obviously, right. So this all goes together. The next benefit is obviously fills you up, stops overeating, based on the protein leverage hypothesis. Plus, the protein generally comes with fat. The combination of the protein and fat is probably the best combo when it comes to satiety. So, for example, you have a piece of salmon, you have a steak. I would still go with lean cuts of meat, right? You have some pork, you have some, you have a nice protein-based meal. You're not hungry for hours. You're just automatically going to eat less for sure. Okay. The other big benefit, let's see. You're speaking facts, oh, thanks so much. The other big benefit, obviously, is going to help you maintain your muscle mass. And the key to maintaining muscle mass, besides the functional aspects of having more muscle in your body, is that it directly correlates with your basal metabolic rate. It correlates with keeping your metabolism up. Like for every pound of muscle you can maintain in your body, you're going to burn anywhere between 6 to 10 calories per day. So putting on muscle increases your metabolism. So if you're losing weight, but you're losing weight, say, just by eating less, but still eating junk foods and not doing your resistance training, and you're not eating an adequate amount of protein, yes, you're still going to lose weight, but you're also going to lose muscle, which inevitably is going to slow down your metabolism. But keep in mind, your metabolism always slows down to some degree when you're losing weight. It's called metabolic adaptation. It's a normal thing. You're a smaller person, but you can over-exaggerate metabolic adaptation by losing muscle mass when you're losing weight. So the whole key is to maintain that muscle mass when you're losing weight, and the two best ways to do that is by eating a high protein diet. I even like to use the term adequate protein, because I mean high kind of scares people. We'll talk about exactly how much protein I think you should be eating later on. An adequate amount of protein, and you have to do your resistance training. Another big benefit of eating an adequate amount of protein is that it naturally increases the hormone GLP-1. I mean, Ozempic and these medications now are getting so popular now, and the main mechanism in which they work is that they make you eat less, right? And they actually slow down digestion. But protein does the same thing. If you increase the protein in your diet, you eat an adequate amount of protein within your diet, you're naturally going to increase GLP-1, the hormone. That's why satiety is one of the reasons why satiety is so high in protein. Eat some protein can take you 12 hours to digest and process that protein. So not only is it boosting your metabolism through the thermic effect, is this increasing GLP-1, which is going to suppress your appetite, is going to lower ghrelin. See, ghrelin is the hunger hormone. When ghrelin is elevated, you're hungry. Right? And these GLP-1s, they really work. I mean, Ozempic, they make people eat less. And it's almost like proof to a degree that it's all about calories, right? Calories is the main factor. Even though I love intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating, but I think the reasons why they work so well, like fasting in general, is you want to be eating less and consuming less calories, and that's why you lose weight. There's some other benefits too, like, insulin sensitivity and maybe autophagy, things like that. But the main benefit, I think, of time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, OMAD, 24-hour fasting, that you're just consuming less calories. But I love it. I do find over the years, and I've tried everything with clients over my 40 years of doing this, I love the 16-80, 18-6. I've had the most success with people to get people to eat less when I tell them to eat within a smaller eating window. You tell someone to only eat within a 6-hour eating window or an 8-hour eating window, or you tell people only eat 2 meals and a protein snack, 95% of the people will lose weight. They just eat less without necessarily having to count calories, even though I love counting calories. I do. Especially people who join my private coaching group, because I charge a lot for it and I really want people to do well. And I need data. I need to see what you're eating every single day for me to guarantee that you're going to lose weight. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Let's go to these amino acids. I like this slide a lot too. Any questions, let me know. Okay, when it comes to amino acids, you really want to make sure you're eating complete protein. You may have heard that term, complete protein. So what's the difference between complete protein and a protein that's not complete? Okay, complete proteins have all 9 of the essential amino acids. These are the amino acids, the building blocks of protein, where your body can't make them. So for example, when you eat a steak, your body breaks the steak down into amino acids, and then the amino acids rebuild the body: protein synthesis, skin, hair, nails, muscles, bones, cartilage, like things like that, right? It's interesting. There are 3 of the 9 that are probably the most important, specifically one of them when it comes to putting on muscle, and that's leucine. That's why for many, many years you may have heard supplement companies saying, okay, take these branched chain aminos. So I highlighted them in blue. Isoleucine, leucine, valine, valine, and people pronounce it a different way. But out of all of these branched chain, leucine is definitely the most important. So when you take in 25, 30 grams of protein, it's nice if you can get at least 25 to 3,000 milligrams of leucine. That seems to be the magic number when it comes to protein synthesis. The confusing thing to people is that every protein source has a different amino acid profile. So I'll make it simple, like using protein powder as an example. You know, like collagen. Collagen has a different amino acid profile than like a whey protein isolate, which is my favorite. See, a whey protein isolate, similar to the Greek yogurt, is like the rock star of amino acids because it's really, really high in leucine while being relatively low in calories. Like you can do a scoop of a whey protein isolate, which will be 120 calories. It'll have 25 grams of protein and maybe 3,000 milligrams of leucine. But if you compared a whey protein isolate to, say, a collagen protein, the leucine is going to be much lower. See, collagen has an amino acid profile that's like high in glycine. You know, it does different things within the body, and it's very, very low, collagen, in tryptophan. It's almost not even in there. So I wouldn't consider collagen to be a complete protein. Yes, it's probably good to still take in some collagen for your skin, for your hair, for your nails. But when it comes to protein synthesis, protein synthesis just means, I know I keep on saying that, the process in which you put on muscle. The mechanism like mTOR, you know, things, growth, stimulation, you're putting on muscle. You're rebuilding the body. So collagen wouldn't be my primary source for that. I would rather you do, obviously, animal proteins like chicken, fish, meat, Greek yogurt, eggs. Those are the proteins that are really high in leucine, really high in all those non-essential amino acids, whereas collagen is not complete. Even plant proteins, unless they're combining, you know how people like vegetarians say they eat rice and beans because they want all non-essential aminos. And there, you know, pea protein is somewhat complete. Hemp seed protein is a complete protein, but they're still a little bit low on some of those non-essential amino acids. See, there's always an limiting amino acid in the non-animal sources of protein. So just make sure that you're getting your complete protein. It's a little confusing about protein because you can't really store protein, even though maybe it takes 12 hours to digest, so it's in your bloodstream for a long time. And there is an amino acid pool, but your amino acid pool is your muscle. So you don't want to like cannibalize yourself. Let's say you're not eating complete proteins. Your body will pull those essential aminos from your muscles and cannibalize yourself to get complete protein. So you don't want to do that. So you want to eat these good sources of complete protein. And there's also conditional amino acids. It gets a little confusing. Conditional amino acid means that the body can make them most of the time, but when you're under stress, when you're sick, maybe even if you've been overtraining, your body has a hard time making them. And then there are non-essential, meaning that non-essential amino just means that your body can make them. Yeah, especially if you're eating a good, healthy diet. I think we had a few other questions. Let's see. Okay, this is truly yours. It's refreshing to see someone speaking the truth. Oh, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I like the protein topic. You know, it's getting really popular. I was always a high protein eater, always, even when I was younger. But I have flipped a lot when it comes to carbs and fats. Like when I was younger, more into bodybuilding, I really ate a high carb diet, high protein diet, low fat diet. I was hungry all the time, but I looked good. I was lean. I had a good amount of muscle. But as I aged in my 40s, now I'm more of a higher fat, moderate to low carb, high protein. My blood work is better. I'm never hungry. I maintain low body fat levels. That's my style of eating. You know my style, guys, if you follow me. I'm like that paleo Mediterranean style of eating, which I think is the best, but more protein. If you're Mediterranean, paleo is pretty high in protein. So let's see. So any questions, let me know if I'm going too fast. What's the next one we got here? Okay, protein requirements. This is a real good one. So how much protein should you be eating every day? Like what would be an adequate amount of protein? Probably the most scientific way of doing it, but it's really hard for most people, that if you know what your lean mass is, like you know what percent body fat you are. Let's say you're 150 pounds and you know that you're 20% body fat and your lean mass is 120 pounds, if you multiply that by 0.9, it's really 0.89, but 0.9 would be 108 grams of protein. The problem is it's so difficult to know truly what your lean mass is, and it's going to change consistently all the time from day to day. If you go for those expensive tests like a DEXA scan, or when I was going to school, studying exercise physiology, things like that, we would weigh people on the water to get an accurate measurement of percent body fat. Those electrical impedance scales that you buy for like $50, $100, they're a good scale for telling you what your body weight is, but they're really inaccurate when it comes to telling you like what your body fat is, what your visceral fat is. I mean, it's some type of algorithm or some equation. You have to enter some information to even teach the scale, how active you are. I would say though, but the general rule is they're consistently inaccurate, meaning that even though the number may be totally off, maybe up by 30, 40, 50%, but if you see your body fat percentages going down on that scale, you're probably losing body fat. So look at it like that. But so many people get so upset with me, not with me, get upset when they buy one of these scales, they jump on the scale and it says, oh, I'm 42% body fat. And I look at them and I say, I know they're not. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I think we got a few other questions here. Okay, this is truly yours. Should I cut out cardio completely and focus on strength training along with carnivore keto? No, it really depends on your goals. Truly yours. It depends on what you're looking to do. See, my style of eating is not really carnivore keto. I would say high protein but high fiber. Like carnivore people wouldn't like fiber. Keto people don't get too much fiber because they go so low carb. I think a carnivore keto is fine. I would do something like that a little bit more intermittently. I still think you should do cardio just for your cardiovascular strength, right? You want to do some type of VO2 max training. If you don't know what VO2 max means, it stands for your maximal oxygen consumption, which is directly correlated with longevity. The more aerobically fit you are, it's the best measurement of how aerobically fit you are, how much oxygen you can consume when you're working out hard. So you can do that by doing those high intensity workouts, those short intervals, like a couple of short workouts, a couple of 20-minute workouts per week. And then I love the long, easy cardio, the base building for mental health and to make you more fat adapted, make you more of a fat burner. I would have to know truly goes exactly. To lose weight, no, I still would. I would do the VO2 max training because even if your main goal is to lose weight, I'm a middle-aged woman, and you want to lose weight, I still would do the cardio training just because you want, especially if you're middle-aged, you want good health, you want longevity, but like I understand where you're coming from. You're saying like the cardio isn't necessarily the main way in which you would lose weight, which I totally agree. You should control your weight like 90%, 80% by the foods in which you eat, by getting into a manageable calorie deficit, by eating a high protein diet, as opposed to killing yourself doing cardio, so that's for sure. But I still would do an adequate or a minimal amount of cardio just to keep your cardiovascular fitness on the higher end. Real important. I always say you want to exercise to create the response you want. That means you do your VO2 max training, your HIIT training to have a strong heart. You do your base building, your easy walking to have an aerobic base, good for your mental health. You do your resistance training to put on muscle and maintain muscle, to be strong, which is directly related to correlation. You do your mobility work, so your joints are nice and lubricated and feel good. And then when it comes to your weight, you control your weight by how many calories you eat, by how many grams of protein you eat a day, and just good food quality. Right? So I'm totally with you with that. Control your weight with how you eat, and exercise to create the response you want. I mean, body fat. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I lose weight. I'm not a stickler. Now, some people are such sticklers. I'm so easy with that. When I say weight loss, I mean fat loss, because no one wants to lose muscle. So whenever I say weight loss, I mean fat loss. Sometimes I use them interchangeably, but we're always talking about losing body fat. This is Jeff. I used I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I used the Solanta nutrition calculator to check my salad I had for lunch. It was 1,045 calories total, 80 grams protein, 5 grams of fiber. Well, I love the 89 grams of protein, and I love the 8 grams of fiber. To me, though, Jeff, a salad with 1,045 calories, that seems a little high to me. I'm curious to know, unless you went with a very fatty source of protein, maybe if you did have an avocado, you would have had, an avocado is like 14 grams of fiber, you wouldn't know what for the ad. I'm curious to know like what was in that salad. I'll tell you like my typical salad that you guys see me post constantly. I do like 100 grams of arugula, which is like nothing. You're talking 20 calories. I do put an avocado in there, which is about, say, 300 calories or so. So now I'm at 350. And I want like 9 grams of protein because I want, 65 grams of protein. Depending upon how lean the protein is, if it's like lean red meat, today I had veal, which was really, really lean. So it's maybe 300 calories. I'm getting 50, 60 grams of protein. Then I may throw, some peppers in and just maybe half a cup of blueberries. My salads are roughly, and I don't use dressing. So that could be, a tablespoon of EVOO is 140 calories. So maybe that creeped up your maybe the dressing creeped up your calories a little bit. But I find that if I'm having an avocado, and when I make my veal, like I put a little EVO when I'm making the veal, I don't really need dressing. But if I did put dressing, I would measure it out, maybe a quarter teaspoon or half a teaspoon of EVOO or balsamic vinegar. So my salads, and they're incredibly satisfying. Sometimes I can't even finish it. Come in around 8 to 850 calories. And I'm getting 65 grams of protein. So you were over that. You had 80. How many grams of protein did you say? You were 89, which I love. Maybe let me rethink. For 90 grams of protein, 1,045, it's really not too bad. That's a decent protein to calorie ratio. So 90 times 4 is what? So how many calories? So just so you guys know, there's 4 calories per gram of protein. I got my phone right here. So 89 times 4 is 350. So 1045 minus 350. Yeah, a third of that meal is protein. That's not so bad. I probably want you a little bit of a better ratio. Like I would rather you come in more around 900 calories for that maybe 89 grams of protein, maybe 950. And say, because every 100 calories over maintenance is 10 pounds a year. I say that almost every live stream, which is so shocking to people, but it's so true. So let's say you're eating maintenance calories, meaning that you're not gaining, you're not losing. Let's say you're a 200-pound guy. You're eating 2,500 calories a day. You're not gaining, you're not losing, and your activity level is the same, right? You're not exercising more, you're not moving less. You're doing the same exact thing, and you eat an additional 100 calories. And what's that? One piece of toast a day extra. You will be 10 pounds heavier at the end of the year. 3,500 calories to a pound. It's so crazy, calorie creep. So whenever you can just trim off a couple hundred calories here or there, it makes a dramatic difference. It makes weight loss so easy just by doing a little thing, especially when you're having a big salad, just by maybe cutting back on the dressing a little that you don't even realize it, or just taking out a couple of the higher caloric things off the salad. Like, I don't know if you're putting some cheese on there or something. It makes a tremendous difference. Okay, protein was grilled chicken, 380 calories, yes, dressing 290. Okay, that's what got you, Jeff. 290 is way too high. Okay, so if you took that dressing, and let's say instead, I think you would like it just as much. Just the example I gave, like 290 calories over maintenance is insane, right? It's like 29 pounds a year. I know it may not even sink in because it's a little more complicated than that. You may not be at maintenance, you may be in a deficit, but much rather you do something like maybe a tablespoon of EVOO is what, 140 calories? Say you did half. Or say, 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon. Let's say you did even 2 teaspoons or even a tablespoon. That's 140. And then with balsamic vinegar 2 to 1, you just saved, 200 calories or 170 calories. It brings the whole thing in line for you. That's what I would definitely do. The dressing was getting you. I've been using your low-calorie cycling method. Okay, I've been using your calorie cycling method. So trying for 1,700 calories one day. My goal weight 170 and 2,400 calories the next with current rate 240. I love it. I think that's great. But keep the protein up both days, Jeff. That's the key to it. Even on that low calorie day when you go 17, still keep your protein up. So I'm assuming, where are you protein wise? You're somewhere around 150, 170, 180 like a day, something like that. Keep the protein up on the low calorie day. But definitely that salad would be great if the dressing was somewhere around 90, 100 calories. So make that adjustment. It'll be a tremendous, and you won't even taste the difference. You won't. Maybe mix the salad a little better. You know what I mean? Like really take the salad, 2 tablespoons of EVO, tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, drench the whole salad with it, the arugula, whatever the base is that you're doing, the mixed greens. I stopped spinach because spinach is so high in oxalates, and oxalates bother me a little bit. Those molecules, some can lead to kidney stones and like joint pain, crystals in the joint. So, I just recently started eating almonds again, and I started getting pain. It's really amazing. Almonds are really high in oxalates too. Okay, let's go back to the protein. So let's go to assume, guys, that you really don't know exactly what your percent body fat is. So the easier way to calculate protein, this is what I generally do, is if you just multiply your body weight by 0.7, it's going to almost be the same as knowing what your percentage is with 0.9. So I use that formula all the time with people, 0.7. But for someone like Jeff, let's say you really do have a decent amount of weight to lose. So Jeff's looking to lose like maybe 70 pounds. I would probably calculate his protein more based on his goal weight of 170. So let's see. So 170 times 0.7 is 120. I'd want you more than 120. I want Jeff more like at least 150, at least 150, 160. Oh, for guys, like it's somewhere around that. So you can go anywhere close to that. If you can do your goal weight, if you can do your present weight by 0.7, that would probably be the best. Let me wrap my head around this. Let me times 240 times 0.7, see what that brings us. Yeah, I'd rather Jeff use his regular weight, because for a guy, 168 grams of protein is totally doable. That's what Jeff should do. 2,400 calories one day, 1,700 calories the next day, with 168 grams of protein, 160 grams of protein every single day, which is not that hard to get to, especially with my style of eating. A general rule, every 8 ounces of chicken, fish, and meat, animal protein, 50 grams. So easy to have like a 9-ounce piece of steak, a 9-ounce piece of salad, you get 60, 65 grams of protein. Do that 2 different meals, you're about 120, 130 already. Well, yeah, it's okay. Yes, it's an herb vinaigrette, EVOO based. Okay, greens with arugula, spinach, kale leaf, lettuce, and cabbage. Yeah, just cut back on the dressing, Jeff. It'll make all the difference for that salad. I'm not sure what else you're putting in there. Even with that 290 and the chicken, for you to be at 1,000, what you said, 1,045, you must be getting some calories somewhere else too. Yeah, are you having an avocado in there too or something? Like, what's getting you to that 1042? Let me know, and I'll keep on talking about this. Another thing you want to keep in mind too, some people would even consider 0.7 to be somewhat conservative. If you're really into bodybuilding or resistance training, or say you're doing a ton of exercise, you can easily go to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If I personally wanted to go into a growth phase, let's say I want to go into a positive energy balance, go over my maintenance calories, try to put on muscle. Sometimes I do that for my birthday every year, or maybe pre-birthday before I do a cut to try to get the low body fat levels. I'll go with at least 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of the body weight. It's almost hard to overdo it with the protein. And you'll see from the study I'm going to reference coming up that you really can also consume a lot of protein in a single meal, which previously was frowned upon, thinking that maybe you wouldn't use the protein. But it seems like the new research is saying that you can use the protein, which is great. Let's see what we got. Okay, let's go to the next one. So number 5. Let's see what I'm not even sure what this next slide is going to be. Okay, so this is the study. This is interesting. This was a really cool study. Okay, let's see. This is Jeff's salad. Cheese, eggs, pumpkin seeds, bacon. Okay, Jeff, I think you're overdoing it a little bit, Jeff. Okay, when it comes to maybe a little bit of cheese, maybe a little just to accent, like a teeny bit of cheese can add so much flavor. And what I mean by that is like a strong cheese, like a little bit of feta. A little bit of blue cheese, something like that. Eggs, great. Another great protein source, which I got. Pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seeds, but once again, very caloric. So I would just put a few. Bacon, I know everybody loves bacon. Maybe a little bit, a teeny bit. I think you're probably getting too many other calories in that salad from the cheese, from the pumpkin seeds, and from the bacon. Just put, especially with a salad. And cheese, like pumpkin seeds and bacon, is so flavorful that you don't need much. I'd like to definitely get your salad down to more similar to what I'm doing. More like 850 calories. I think you'll like it just as much. And you'll literally be saving like 450 calories, which will be tremendous. And I think the satiety of the salad will be just as good. I think you'll like it just as much. And I think it'll speed along this whole weight loss process for you. So see if you can make those adjustments. We'll talk in a couple of weeks when we come back. So let's talk about this study. This is a cool study. For many, many years, and I still get comments to this day constantly, like when I post those meals I'm talking about, and I say, the 65 grams of protein, so many people will leave a comment and say, Mike, what are you doing? You can only use 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. The rest of the calories are going to be wasted. That was a belief that was very popular maybe 20 years ago. And the research has been changing. Then it seemed to jump to maybe 60, 65 grams or more, like what people felt, especially if you're a guy maybe on the bigger side that you can utilize per meal. And this is for protein synthesis. This is for like putting on muscle, for maintaining muscle, not necessarily just rebuilding your whole body. Your skin, your hair, your nails, your bone. Your body is like all protein. So even then, they were talking more protein synthesis. But there's this new study that came out this year, or maybe last year, 2024, that kind of flipped everything over, saying that you can consume upwards of 100 grams of protein per meal, and you will utilize that protein. It's not wasted. The body actually slows digestion for upwards of 12 hours, and you're going to utilize the protein. That's one of the reasons why eating protein slows digestion, which is incredibly satisfying, right? Which controls the hunger hormone ghrelin, which increases that GLP-1, the hormone that suppresses appetite. It's all interconnected. So and they even reference that maybe you can even go upwards, even more than 100 grams of protein, and still utilize that protein. And this is a little counterintuitive for me, because I love the OMAD diet, like only eating one meal a day, and I do it every Sunday. And I've done a whole bunch of videos on it, and the videos do pretty well on YouTube when I always talk about the OMAD diet. But I always felt that it was much more of an intermittent strategy, meaning that I never thought you can really take in enough protein with just one meal, especially if you're working out all the time and you're a real physical person. That I think you should do it, intermittently, like low-calorie days. Like say you want to do 2 or 3 low-calorie days within the week. It's okay to maybe cut back on your protein and only do one meal. But now, based on this study, you can probably do the old OMAD diet like every day for a much longer period of time than I thought you would be able to, because you can take in 150 grams of protein in one meal and utilize that protein, especially when you go to like Facebook and you look at those OMAD groups where the before and after pictures in these OMAD groups, I think are the most impressive, more impressive than almost anything I've seen, of people losing 50, 75, 100 pounds. Eating one meal a day for like 2-3 years. It's really incredible, and they look really fit. So it's really interesting, that everything is always changing. We're learning more, obviously, every single year when these studies come out, and just personal experience, like doing it. You can pile on the protein, guys, when you're eating. Really do, especially if you have like a low protein breakfast. Like say you just felt like having oatmeal one morning, and then you maybe just had something like with some fruit with it, which is almost no protein. And then lunch, you just had a salad and maybe just only a couple of hard-boiled eggs. You only get 6-7 grams of protein per egg, so only took in 14 grams of protein. So let's say it comes to dinner and you only consumed maybe 15, 18 grams of protein for the day. You can have a 16-ounce piece of fish that night, taking 100 grams of protein. Don't think it's crazy. You can do it. That's why I love eating fish. I lean towards pescatarian. You'll see the meals that I posted today when I pull in on the last slide here are pretty much all fish, because it's so easy to eat 12 ounces, 14 ounces, even 16 ounces of a flounder or filet of sole. I had filet of sole last night. I posted it on my Instagram story. Came out so good. My wife actually was working last night. She was actually out in, I think she was in Staten Island on a business thing. So, but she bought me the filet of sole ahead of time, which is probably my favorite fish. I sauteed in a pan, a little extra virgin olive oil, garlic powder, oregano, some sweet white wine. It was like incredible. Fresh garlic. I ate the whole pound. 100 grams of protein. I must have taken 200 grams of protein yesterday. I just love it. And I just had an arugula salad with some berries. I posted on my stories. I can't do stories on YouTube. In YouTube, or else I would. But, just be careful, guys. No, not be careful. Make sure you hit your protein requirement for the day, for sure. Let's see. I think Jeff got another question. Let's see. Okay, so that salad fits into the 2,400 calorie day pretty well, but I will reduce the calories when I lost enough pounds. Okay, Chris, the other thing to keep in mind, Jeff, is that even though that's my formula, like, multiply your body weight by 10, multiply your goal weight by 10, you don't have to hit that 2,400 calories. I mean, you can go less. Don't feel like that's the math. I like that formula because it just makes it really simple for people. But when I coach people one-on-one, a lot of times when it comes to me having the people hit their multiply their body weight by 10, so many people, particularly women too, they just can't hit that number. I say, don't try to hit it. So Jeff, on those, you can easily go 2,200, 2,100, 17. There's nothing magical. Like, I know what maybe you're thinking, like the thermic effect and keeping your metabolism up by eating more, like you have to get to 2,400. You don't have to. You'll speed it up by going less. I mean, you can definitely you can do 2,017 if you're not hungry. I just don't want you hungry. But don't feel like you have to hit that 2,400 calories. You don't. You can go less. Let's see. On the 1,700 calorie day, I have just, okay, on the 1,700 calorie days, I have just had a protein smoothie for dinner and some raw vegetables, so it's less than 500 calories. Oh, that's great. Excellent. That's good. But keep that in mind, Jeff. Don't feel you have to hit 24. There's nothing magical about hitting 24. And especially as you lose weight, you want to keep on reducing that top number. So instead, if you're 220, if you follow that formula exactly, then it's only 2,200 calories, right? It's because you're losing weight, you're multiplying your body weight by 10. But don't feel you have to go 24. You can go less, and you can throw a nomad day in once a week, like I do on Sundays, to speed the whole process up, you know? But I don't want you to torture yourself. I want you to enjoy your life and everything, and not be hungry. But keep that in mind. You don't have to hit 24. Okay, so this is the slide. Let's go over my favorite sources of protein. So obviously, if you follow me, you know I'm an animal protein guy for sure. Poultry, fish, meat. Like I said, every 8 ounces is about 50 grams of protein. I do keep an eye on saturated fat. That's why I'm not really a straight up carnivore person. I think fiber and keeping an eye on saturated, I think having fiber in your diet has tremendous benefit in my opinion. Also for satiety, for feeding the good bacteria within your stomach. I think it's good for digestion. I think there's multiple good things to eat a high fiber diet, and I do think the research really does support that. I know people can debate me, like a guy like Paul Saladino. I couldn't debate him. He's too smart for me. But I do think eating a high fiber diet is important, and I do think that you should keep an eye on saturated fat. I think there is a correlation with LDLs and things like that, the type of cholesterol that you want to keep an eye on. Like I wouldn't, pick like brisket and pastrami and sausage and bacon. I would definitely go with the leaner cuts of meat when it comes to red meat for sure. I love the most inexpensive red meat cuts, like steak sandwich. I buy it all the time. Yes, it's a little chewy, but I tenderize it. I did some videos on it. The veal I had today was so good, so lean. Lean pork, I love. Chicken, I eat chicken thighs a lot too, which is a little higher in fat, but stay away from the fatty cuts of meat and definitely stay away from the processed meats. The cold cut meats, for sure. Like a fresh turkey is fine, or even roast beef. Fresh roast beef is fine, but you want to stay away from the processed meats, obviously. I love nitrates, but not from processed meats. Like arugula is high in nitrates, which I eat almost every day. Natural nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide within the body, which is so good for blood flow. So I eat 100 grams of arugula like every single day. Could potentially, not a doctor, you guys know, but some studies have shown that eating like arugula and eating like beets, foods that are naturally high in nitrates, convert to nitric oxide, can lower blood pressure, can improve exercise performance. So I thought it could help with mild erectile dysfunction, things like that. I eat 100 grams of arugula almost every single day, and I think there's tremendous benefit to it. So that's the good nitrates, not the nitrates like on a hot dog or in bologna or like something like that. My other favorite sources are eggs. Eggs is a superfood. The B vitamins, the yolk, the omega-3s when they're pasture raised. I love eggs. I eat eggs, if not every single day. I eat them definitely 3-4 times a week. I wouldn't worry about the cholesterol and all that. Talk to your doctor about it if you're concerned about it, but the research has seemed to have debunked that. I would eat the yolks. Sometimes I'll add a few extra whites in it. It's another staple. Like these are the staples that I always keep in my house. Always keep my refrigerator, like the meal prep. I always have like a dozen eggs boiled in the refrigerator all the time. I'm eating hard-boiled eggs constantly. And I just fry them up too with extra virgin olive oil. Always keep avocados in the house. Always keep blueberries in the house. Always keep cans of salmon. Always keep smoked salmon in the house. Always have some type of like chicken, fish, and meat. If not frozen, I always keep frozen shrimp, Gulf shrimp, wild-caught shrimp. If I ever just run them under water, within 10 minutes they're like ready to eat. I buy them pre-cooked. Sometimes I buy them raw and I just boil them up. I always keep chicken breasts or chicken thighs, or it's so much easier when you think. When you get caught is when you're not prepped and you're not ready. You come home, you're hungry, and there's like potato chips and cookies and cakes. What are you going to do? You're going to grab a cookie, you're going to grab a potato chip. But when you have these other foods, when you can just grab a couple blueberries and even some cashews or something, you're good. You got to prep. One day a week, you gotta go to the supermarket, or your partner, whoever you're with, and someone's got to do it in the house. And then you got to keep the trigger foods out. I know it's tough when you got kids. It was hard for me when I had kids too, because my thing, and you guys know this if you follow me, is potato chips. And what I mean by trigger food is the type of food that's not good for you, like a junk food, but when you're around it, you can't stop eating it. So for me, it was always potato chips. And my son loved potato chips. My daughter liked potato chips. So when they were younger, there was always potato chips in the house. So it was hard for me. So I've done this. Sometimes I would put a sticker on the bag of potato chips saying, like, don't eat them, or are you really hungry? Do you really need these potato chips? I would do things like that. Or I would try to keep them in a part of the house that weren't, like, not where I'm hanging out and working all the time. I'd put them, like, in a different cupboard, maybe downstairs. We have a refrigerator downstairs. I'd put it there, too. Let's see what Jeff. Anyway, Jeff's got another question. Okay, my fast is about 15-9. Love that. So he's fasting for 15 hours, giving himself a 9-hour eating window. I love that. I stop eating by 6 p.m. and have coffee. Bulletproof creamer. That sounds good. A little MCTs probably. I don't know his creamer, but I'm assuming it's like an MCT, or oil, for ketosis a little bit. And at 9 a.m. And yes, I do OMAD on Sundays. Ooh, love it, Jeff. You're gonna do good, Jeff. Stick with this plan, but cut back a little bit. You don't, like I'm saying, you don't have to do that 2,400 calorie day. Like, especially if you're striving to try to get to 24. Definitely not. You can definitely do 1,700, 2,000, 1,700, 2,100. I mean, it'll just speed along the whole process for you. Okay. Now, the other sorts of protein, like if you are a vegan or vegetarian, you can do it. You really can. If you're a vegetarian, eggs, dairy, cottage cheese, like things like that, right? If you're vegan, I think you're gonna have to take some type of like a protein powder. The gluten is actually the gluten protein powders are really low in calories, really high in protein. If you have no issues with gluten, but the pea, the hemp seed, I like Garden of Life has a nice sports plant-based protein powder, and your tofu and your all your things like that is fine too. But just keep an eye if you're a vegetarian or vegan on that protein hypothesis, meaning that try to pick your protein sources that are relatively low in calories. Always think about that protein to calorie ratio. If you're a meat eater like me, it's easy, right? But if you're a vegan especially, it's a little bit more challenging. So keep that in mind. I've worked with a lot of vegetarians and vegans over the years too. Okay, the smoothie, this is Jeff again, the smoothie with fruit and almond butter already tastes like dessert, so I don't need the cookies and the cake. Sounds great. I love it, Jeff. That sounds great. Excellent. Okay. Also, to keep in mind, you will pick up some protein from the general vegetables you're eating. Like an avocado actually has 5 grams of protein, a whole avocado, which is pretty cool. Broccoli on a percentage basis is very high in protein. So even if sometimes you're not, I'm not telling you guys you have to just pound the animal protein. I love animal protein. I think it's the easiest way to get your protein. But if you're eating a little bit less than you might think, but you're eating a good amount of vegetables, and you are eating some legumes and some beans, you're getting protein there too. The best thing to do, I know you don't want to, I know it's hard to do, but once in your life you have to track. Use MyFitnessPal, use Lose It. I have my own app. If you want to work with me one-on-one, obviously, that would be great. There should be a link below this video. You can set up a free consultation call. We'll see if they're the right fit. It's an investment to work with me, but people do incredibly well. Your life will be changed in 3 to 6 months. You won't believe it. But you have to track things for a couple of weeks. Get an app, enter every single thing you're eating in that app. See how many calories you're eating. See how much protein you're eating. See how much fiber you're taking in. Those are the big 3. Calories, protein, and fiber. That's the secret to everything. If you want to lose weight, you get into a calorie deficit. You keep your protein up. If you want to eat healthy, you keep your fiber up too. That means you're eating fruits and vegetables. Animals, fruits, and vegetables. Probably the simplest diet in the world that will guarantee success. You eat animal protein, and when I mean animal protein, you could also including Greek yogurt and eggs and things like that. Then you eat fruits and vegetables, nothing else. No junk food, no grains, no cookies, no cakes, no junk. Just animal protein, fruits and vegetables. And I'll reference my favorite guy, Andrew Huberman. I'd love to meet him one day. That's my favorite podcast, Huberman Labs, the professor from Stanford. And I heard him do like a little short video. I follow all his content. He did it I saw it a couple weeks ago, but I don't know when he did it. He said that he has a number of friends in their 40s who are like 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight. And the advice he always gives them is, he says, do 2 things, or maybe 3 things. Number 1, do like a 16-8, skip breakfast, have coffee, eat within like an 8-hour eating window, eat between like 11 and 7 every single day, and then only eat animal protein, fruits, and vegetables. He says every single one of his friends, I guess he's right around that age 40, and that's when the weight starts creeping up on you in your 40s. He said every single one of his friends who did that lost all the weight, lost 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, and kept it off by following that simple plan. And it's so similar to what I recommend constantly, like a 16-8 or an 18-6. Give yourself a smaller eating window. It's going to be easier for you to get into a calorie deficit. Plus, there are some benefits to being in a fasted state too. The low blood sugar, the increase in insulin sensitivity. Yes, autophagy, recirculation, and weakened damaged organelles kick in. But the main thing is you're going to eat less than if you focus on animal protein, chicken, fish, meat, lean cuts though, and you want the fiber from the fruits and the vegetables, the vitamins, the minerals, the nutrients, and you just did that. I'd be shocked if any person here cannot get to their goal weight if you do that, unless you're gorging yourself. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you track your calories and do that, that's what I do with my coaching clients because they're paying me a lot of money and I want to guarantee they're going to do well. If you track calories along with that formula, I'd be shocked. I mean, even if you got hormone problems, you're in menopause, you're post menopause, I mean, you're going to lose. It's going to work. I'm telling you, it's going to work. It will. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we got some new questions, new people. EJ. Hi, Mike from the UK. Hey, thanks for showing up, EJ. Appreciate UK. I've been to the Channel Islands with my wife on a business trip one time, but I've never spent time like straight up like in London. I'm dying to go. I gotta get there. I want to go with my kids. Actually, I'm FaceTime with my son tonight. So I would love this plan a trip. Hey, Carlos. Did I miss the carb portion of the video? Carlos, I didn't really specifically talk about carbs. Like this presentation was more on when you're cutting calories and you're losing weight, it's critically important to keep your protein up, and for so many different reasons. For maintaining your muscle, you look how fit muscular guy, for maintaining your muscle mass, to keep your metabolism up because of the thermic effect of protein, for longevity. So, you can watch the beginning of it again. We're gonna post this on YouTube. But when it comes to carbohydrates in general, I'm a moderate to low carb guy. I've done both diets in my life. You seem like a pretty muscular guy. Like when I was younger, I was really muscular. In my 20s and 30s, I ate a high protein, high carb, low fat diet. I looked good and I got to pretty low body fat levels, single digits, but I was hungry all the time. And my blood work was good, but not great. I switched over to more of like a lower carb, moderate carb, higher fat diet in my 40s, and now I'm 62. I'm never hungry, and my blood work's actually better now, being an old guy like me at 62. So, like I'm saying, the body can always make carbohydrates if you're not getting enough from your diet. But I like, it's funny, I like that classic Frank Zane formula. If you look behind me, I'll show you my favorite bodybuilder. That's Frank Zane right there. I've read all his books and all his booklets and things like that. And one of his best plans, I did a live stream on it too, is keeping your carbs and protein even. I think that's a great method. Like say if I'm eating 150 grams of protein a day, which is 600 calories, and then I'm eating 150 grams of carbohydrates, which is 600 calories, which is a good amount of carbs to keep your energy up, to do some heavy weight training, and you do your hard cardio and all that, while it's still a third of what most people eat. And then get the rest of your calories from fat. So say I'm doing 6 and 6, which is 12, and my maintenance calories are like 23 or 22, and so I'm going like maybe 40% from fat. I think that's a great macronutrient ratio for most guys or gals who are pretty active or like to lift weights. Keep your protein and carbs even. And it's different if you're doing a cut or you're looking to put on muscle and you want to get them parts of energy balance. But that's my formula for me generally. And then I try to do things. Then I'll cycle, meaning that, maybe when I turned 60, I did this major cut. I wound up hurting my elbows. I overtrained, but I got really lean. So I cut back on the carbs, and up my protein even more. But I like that general formula of keeping your protein and carbs even. I think that's a great macro split. And then the rest of your calories come from fat, from the whole natural food you're eating. I hope that helped. This is Chris. Okay, you changed my life. No longer a diabetic. Thank you. Chris is incredible. Chris lost like 70 pounds. We used to be a diabetic with insulin. He turned everything around. I'm so proud of him. Guys like him like motivate me to keep on doing this. It's funny. I said this I did that video I released it a couple of days ago. Kind of interesting. I don't really talk about myself enough. That's why I like doing the live streams. I feel like my personality, who I am, like kind of shows more. I feel like I'm a little stiff and a little tight on those like regular videos where I script the video and I do it. But I did a video on like my goals for 2025 to show my personality, like a little bit more. Check it out and see what you think. I talk about my goals for like 2025, and I'm doing this too because like Chris has done so incredibly well with this program. And I always say that what makes someone a good coach is not necessarily how knowledgeable they are. As long as you're reasonably knowledgeable, is when you feel good or you feel like you're doing the right thing when you see someone else hit their goals. Like that's what makes a good coach. That's what makes a good trainer. Whenever I had 9 trainers work for me at one time, whenever I would hire a trainer, I didn't necessarily look for the person who had the highest degree, had a PhD or had their master's or this, that. I looked for an individual who I could tell would feel good or feel accomplishment when they really saw the people that were coaching, the people that were training do well. That's the key to a good coach and a good trainer, I think. And I feel like it's hard for me to get that across, in my videos. So I'm going to start sharing a lot more videos about my personal life about, we'll see. I know, I guess a little tangent, a little side thing there. But check out that video about my goals for 2025. And if you want more content like that, let me know. Because another thing that prompted me to make that video is that I did a video. I don't know if you can see too. I got guitars like in every room. I tried to learn how to play guitar like 15 years ago. And I really tried. I mean, my kids were playing guitar. They were taking lessons. I just could not get it. I mean, it's so hard to learn how to play guitar. And I put it down, and like the last 3 years, I didn't pick up a guitar for like 3 years, like not once. And then I said, you know what, for 2025, I'm going to learn how to go play guitar this time. And I've been playing, and I did a video about it, and people like loved the video. I was shocked. They were saying, oh yeah, I love guitar. I didn't think people are interested about my personal life because I always want to like try to teach something or give information, give value in my videos. But I think I'm going to start doing things a little bit more about my personal life on all these, in these live streams and the videos and the shorts, things like that. Let's see what we got. Okay, this is Jeff again. I understand. Okay, this is Jeff. I understand what you're saying about not having to hit 2400. Okay, good. But it's been really hard since I got my gallbladder out. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I think my body is always in crisis mode, wants to keep the fat on. Yeah, the gallbladder it is challenging, Jeff. Sorry about that. It seems like you're doing okay with it. The issue with the gallbladder too is that sometimes you have a harder time, like on an OMAD day, because it's hard to digest and process without the bile. I mean, to process those higher calorie meals. Do the best you can. But even 100 calories less, Jeff. Like I said, 100 calories is 10 pounds a year. So even if you can like hang out at 23 sometimes, do it like that. But I hear what you're saying. It's definitely challenging, especially without a gallbladder. It's harder. Let's see what Carlos. Hey, Carlos. Thanks. That's great. I'm currently on a low carb to moderate carb. Sounds good, Carlos. That sounds great. That's my favorite. But keep your protein up. I'm sure you are. You look like a real fit guy. You may remember I used to do alternate day fasting. I do remember that. My body wouldn't My body wouldn't let me too aggressively anymore. I get physically ill. Yeah, alternate day fasting is really aggressive. You know, there's been a couple of studies on that. Like I did a video that did really well. And it's interesting when you look at the studies on alternate day fasting. It's a little bit easier than people think because you fast for like 36 hours, and then you give yourself a 12-hour eating window. But within that 36 hours, you're still able to take in like 25% of your normal calories. It's almost like a 5-2. So, and it still produces great results. Like, for example, if you took in like 500 to 700 calories within that 36-hour fast and then did that 12-hour of normal eating, you'll still do incredibly well because you're in an aggressive calorie deficit. But I agree, Jeff. I very rarely have ever put anyone on that long term. It's something I would do maybe to break through a weight loss plateau, have someone do it for a couple of weeks, the maximum maybe a month. But I do love, and I do this with a lot of clients, I have a lot of people on it now, because, people sign up for my coaching program, they're with me 3-6 months. Some people stay like over a year if they have like a lot of weight to lose, or they really want to like turn things around. I'll put them on like 2 low calorie days a week. Like, I love that approach. like let's say I have you in a calorie cycle where you're doing something similar to what Jeff's doing, say 24-17, or maybe like 22-16, and you're losing weight, but all of a sudden, the weight starts slowing down. It just happens. The body just adapts. I'd love throwing in like 2 OMAD days. I call it OMAD 1.5, where maybe you're only eating 750 calories, still taking in like 100 grams or plus grams of protein. So you do a small protein meal, like hard-boiled eggs, blueberries, a Greek yogurt, or protein bar, protein shake, and then you have one nice big meal. And you do that on 2 days on non-consecutive days. Like you do that like on a Monday and a Thursday. It really can help you break through. It speeds up the whole process. I really like it. And I'll do that with people a lot too. And actually, I just mapped out a plan for someone like that. And I made a PDF for it. I should have linked it, but after this, once this video goes into replays, I'll put that plan underneath there, or I'll give you the link to it's in Google Doc. I made a PDF in Google Doc, so you can just click a link. It'll take it to the Google Doc, and you can check it out. It shows how you really can get to 100 grams of protein pretty easily, keeping your calories under 750 calories. Whereas most people don't even get anywhere near 100 grams of protein a day, and they're eating 2,500 calories. So you definitely can do it. So that's the thing. And I do like supplements, like I'm saying, for getting your protein sources. I love a whey protein isolate. I like egg white protein powder. I love the No-Cal and the Quest protein bars. I even like those essential amino acid supplements. I think they're all great. So let's skip. Was that the last slide? All right, you get this interesting thing. I do work with some people who just, no matter what, they will not count calories. They don't want to use the app. They said, Mike, I'm not doing it. Yes, I will eat within a smaller eating window, but I'm not tracking anything. Then I would want them to do something like this. They generally use the palm of the hand to calculate how much protein they're eating. So generally, one portion size would be the palm of your hand or maybe your fist. It's going to be, if you're a petite gal, it may only be 3-4 ounces. If you're a big guy, it could be 5-6 ounces. If you're a guy, go with 2 fists, 2 palmfuls. If you're a gal, go with 2 fists to 2 palmfuls. And this comes from Precision Nutrition. I'm also a Precision Nutrition coach. Did that certification so many years ago. But that's another way of doing it if you don't necessarily want to track calories, even though I really recommend at least once in your life to track calories. It's so educational to track. I think that's done with this. So let's go into this now. Let me show you a couple of meal examples. Let's see, do I have them? Let's hope I think they disappeared, but I'm going to pull them in a different way. Let me close this out. Yeah, for some reason, this has happened to me in the past too. For some reason, I lost my meal. Oh, there they are. Okay, here we go. This is like a typical example of what I consider to be just like a perfect dinner. So this is flounder. I've been eating like filet of sole and flounder. You see the other one's filet of sole. So this is literally, for me, probably 12 ounces of flounder. So I'm getting like 75, 80 grams of protein. I must have not had an arugula salad for lunch, because I probably wouldn't do arugula salad twice. So then I have an arugula salad. I don't put dressing, but you can put a little bit of EVO and balsamic vinegar. And you may not know what those strips are. Those are carrots. And we buy those multiple carrots. Those are yellow or golden, orange, and like purple carrots. And I had more servings of that. So my wife, she knows I like to eat a lot of things like that. So she made like double amounts. To me, that's like a high protein, moderate calorie meal, super high in fiber. And the fish is so easy to make the fish because we just bake it. I think there's a little bit of Cajun spices and salt, pepper, garlic powder. I just absolutely love it. This is just like the perfect meal. And this is what I'm talking about. It all had to do with meal structure. Like you really can eat your fish. Like some people don't eat fish. I work with a lot of people who don't eat fish. So that could be a piece of steak. That could be some chicken breast. That could be some chicken thighs. That could be some pork, right? Doesn't make a difference. But you still want the fibrous vegetable. And I like to say, try to go with 2 different colors. That's why we try not to do only orange carrots. We'll do yellow, orange, and purple. Different vitamins, different minerals, different pigments, different nutrition from the different colors. So to me, that's like a perfect meal. This is one of my favorite small meals. I love this meal. It's fun. I forget the guy's name. There's some guy follows me in the UK too. He's like this exotic car salesman. I love his content. I follow all his stuff on Instagram. I posted this meal. He said, Mike, I eat this meal twice a week. I've been doing it for years since I seen you post it a while ago. Sometimes I'll have the avocado with this, sometimes I won't. This is more of like a small lunch meal. Super high in those omega-3s. Those omega-3 fatty acids, similar to the essential amino acids, you have to get them through your diet. That's where you want to eat those fatty fish. There's a can of sardines, like 21 grams of protein. My favorite brand is the Henry Lisa. And I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 ounces of smoked salmon. I'm lucky I have a smoked salmon shop right next to my gym. Incredible. I just love it. I mean, so maybe, what do I get there? 55 grams of protein, half a cup of blueberries. This is one of my go-to meals. If not once a week, I have this twice a week on one of my lower calorie days. So this is a day. That's the other thing I like. I call this now. I tried to coin some of the things I call my cycling. Now I call it my progressive cycling method. On a day when I do my low calorie day, like this is even with Jeff too, that wouldn't be the day when you hit the gym hard and do your hard resistance training. That's more on your cardio day, more on your lower calorie day. So this was a day when I was just walking that day. I wanted to keep my calories low. So instead of having my big arugula salad, which is 750 calories, I remember something like this, which is like 350, 400. Well, this is Jeff. You got to explain how to bake the fish like I'm 4 years old, because it ends up tough to me. You know, I like things a little overdone, and this is a big conflict with my wife. Generally, when it comes to like a flaky white fish, 400 degrees, literally 20 to 22 minutes, and it's probably perfect. There's a couple of I do it differently than my wife. My wife does it more dry, meaning my wife will just season it. Could be salt, pepper, garlic powder, oregano, with a little EVO on top. I like to add a little white wine, and like this, like that's how I made my filet of sole last night. I did white wine, like a kind of a sweet white wine, like a cheap white wine. I put the filet of sole in there. I think you'll see it. I think it's going to come up, I think, next. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, oregano, and then I cut up fresh garlic. 22 minutes, perfect. The nice thing about the wine is that it almost like steam cooks it. So even if you want to cook it a little bit longer, it's still going to be moist and really good. I also like, when I cook, I also like if I can somehow time it so everything comes out at the same time. I like that. So for example, if I do a white fish, it's only going to take 20-25 minutes, but let's say I'm making a sweet potato with it. That may take 45 minutes. I'll put the sweet potato in ahead of time, wait 20 minutes. I'll put the fork in the sweet potato. When I get the fork halfway through, I know it'll be, which actually was kind of interesting. A couple of weeks ago, I did a live stream on what to do if you're not losing weight quick enough. Like all different techniques and strategies you can do to speed up weight loss. I touched on a little bit of today. And it did pretty good, but then I took a 15-minute clip of it, of the live stream, and I released it as a second video. And I think that I may start doing that, because a lot of people miss the live stream, and then live streams are like within the YouTube algorithm are not put out for people to see like a normal video. So let me know also what you think about that. Like, do you think I may take 15 minutes at the beginning of this clip, release it as a separate video, and then link this video to it to try to encourage people to watch the whole live stream. So let me know what you think about that. But once again, I appreciate everybody showing up. And anything I can do. But also, not to keep on selling myself, if you want to work with me one-on-one, just let me know. Just leave a comment like coach below this video, and I'll send you a link. You can fill out an application, and if everything looks good, we can do a Zoom call together to see if my program is the right fit for you. But once again, thanks for showing up. Joe, I wonder if Joe showed up. Joe told me he was going to show up today. From Canada. I hope you're there, Joe. Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Thanks. Take care. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, great, Sheila. Okay, good. I'll send you the link after this. Okay, or maybe a little later tonight. I gotta like cool my brain off after a live stream, but I'll send you a link. You answer a few questions so I can learn a little bit about your goals, and then you'll see a link after the last question to book a Zoom call with me. We'll go over everything. We'll see if my program is the right fit for you. Okay, but thanks for showing up. I appreciate it.